So yesterday, my sweet neighbor texted me asking if we were capable of taking a sweet little baby mouse that she found in her dog's mouth. The dog wasn't trying to eat it or kill it, but it was playing with it, and she was able to get it away. And so I told her bring it over because mice are apparently now our specialty. Upon inspection, the baby was just under 2 weeks old. Its eyes were still closed, but its size indicated that its eyes were going to be opening very soon. And it looked slightly different than Squeaker's. This baby appeared to be a vole, which is regular field mouse. We rescued a vole about 4 years ago, and she lived with us for 2 years before she naturally passed away. And so that's our current rescue mission. As for homestead projects, our agenda today is to try to enclose the goats' cages under their awning. Good morning, Junie. Who's a sweet girl? So their pen is completely open. They're protected from the elements, but not so much wind and cold. And it would be way too expensive to try to enclose the entire awning. And so our sweet friend Heath and his boys brought over some extra pallets and some plywood and stuff that they had on hand that they were planning on burning anyway. So my hope is to sort of build some sort of enclosure, stick their cages in that, so give them a windbreak. Around where I want to build, we can always stack extra like bales of hay or straw to act as insulation. And so we've got all this material here to work with, and hopefully we can make this happen. So we're heading to the garden because during this morning's inspection, I realized that yesterday's 35-mile-per-hour wind knocked over all 3 of my cilantro containers, and now it's a murder scene in here. Oh, I'm so upset. Look at that. All the new sprouts that I just got are destroyed. I'm going to salvage what I can, harvest this, fix the soil, and replant. All right, so we've got both herb containers moved, propped up on some garden blocks. I harvested most of the cilantro, and then I went ahead and I replanted the cilantro up here where they fell out, but I did use the entire middle tier for oregano this time. So hopefully we get some oregano sprouts with the cilantro. And then dill's doing really good over here. I didn't have to replant anything. This one didn't fall. And if you look closely, you'll see that my last replanting of the dill took really well. We've got a ton of new dill sprouts. And if you look closely in bed number 3, we have our very first garlic sprout. The last time I was out in the garden, I cleaned up both of these beds. I tilled bed number 8 up pretty well. I'm going to add some compost, and then I'm going to be adding some lettuce to this bed. I'm going to remove both cylinder trellises, get them out of the way. They are not needed anymore. And then I'm going to clean up this bed, harvest all of the marigold heads for seed, get these trellises moved out as well, get as much lettuce into the ground as possible as our weather starts to cool, and they should be successful. So I did a little bit of rearranging and moved my mint buckets so that the end of all these beds matched, and then the middle row of these sets of beds have our eggplant, some mint ready to be planted in, some more mint, eggplant ready to be planted in, and the last eggplant bucket. What did you get, you naughty boy? Oh my goodness. You got a whole snake, huh? Ugh. I'm not gonna take it now. You already killed it. Ugh, so gross. Well, you've done your job. Y'all need to get a life. You can feed the rest to them. You can feed the rest to them. Well, our 3-day cold spell is finally over. We're sitting at about 67 right now with sun, high of 73, and all the animals survived. We were able to keep them warm. We were able to keep water from freezing. We still haven't finished the goat pen because 2 of the pallets that we were given were just rotted out and junk, and the piece of plywood or the wood or whatever it is was not usable either. So we kind of propped a pallet on the side as more of a windbreak. I put metal trays on top to kind of close off the top. We laid some pallets on the top as well and just kept stuffing their cages with hay. And thankfully they managed quite well. But I'm out in the garden now. I haven't been out here in 3 days because when it's cold out, I don't go outside. Being cold is not my favorite thing. And so I'm going to see how the garlic is doing. I showed you in my last video. We were just starting to get sprouts. It's been quite a bit since I videoed that stuff for you. And I'm going to see what the cold took with it. So it looks like we lost all of the basil. All the sprouts are toast. Parsley's still here. Not doing too bad. Does look like we lost all of our okra though. They are no longer green. They've all turned brown. The cold got them good. And our voluntary tomato. But the beets are doing really well, which is expected because they're a cold weather crop. Eggplant looks like it's gone. So I think I'm just going to pull all the okra. Mint is still somewhat here. Catmint doesn't ever go away. And all the tomatoes finally went. The marigolds are pretty much done. I'll let them dry out though and collect all these seeds because there's a billion in there. So it looks like tomatoes are completely toast thanks to this frost. These look pretty dried out. Yep, they're pretty crispy. So it looks like we're gonna get these trellises out, rip up the marigolds, get all the tomatoes out, the okra is gone, and gonna focus on these next 5 crops. So with our garlic already in the ground and sprouted, I'm gonna focus on these 5 crops. So we've got our lettuce, kohlrabi, spinach, some more beets, and another go at carrots. I am never successful with carrots. I don't know why I keep fooling myself. I guess it's just the gardener in me, and I have hope. It took 7 years to become successful with beets, so maybe it'll take 7 years with carrots. I don't know. But we're gonna have at it. We're gonna prep these beds, get this in the ground, and hopefully we have some food coming in this fall. So our garlic sprouts are still doing really well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I can see. Oh, 7. Hey fella, you missing a leg? Poor guy. This cold was no good for anybody, huh? So we got some sprouts, not any on this side. None in bed 2. Oh, we do have one in here though. So they're sprouting pretty sporadic, but I'm not worried because they'll do their thing over winter, and we'll have garlic next year, whether I pay attention to them or not. So we did it after 7 years of trying to grow beets. We were finally successful. So we've got a bunch of big ones. I'm gonna keep the small ones. I ended up harvesting all the beets in both beds so that way we could amend the soil with some compost, get some healthy matter back in there so that we could have even bigger beets. And so after we amend that bed, we're gonna plant more beets and hopefully we have a bigger and better crop. So we just harvested our first crop of beets. It wasn't a huge crop, but I'm going to make the most of this. While the beets cure and are waiting to be used, I went ahead and harvested all of my beet greens, which are loaded in nitrates, which help lower blood pressure. Beet greens are loaded with nutrients, high in vitamin C, have anti-cancer properties, and it also helps to fight inflammation. So you could add these to your eggs after sauteing them. You could add them into your pasta sauces or just plain pasta if you want to have cold pasta. Or like tonight, we're gonna eat these raw after washing them and add them right to our salad. All right, I'm working on my last bed here in these tomatoes. It's a jungle and it's very difficult to work today because we have 23-mile-per-hour winds. Gusts of dirt are like all up in my eyes. This is not the easiest task or the most fun, but it's the last bed and it's got to be done. And once this is done and everything is composted, the garden will be put to rest and then I can plant in the ones that I need.